The inside knows they're not Christian, or I should say the initiate knows that they're not Christian, but the goyim or the mass does not know that.
Right.
Everyone else knows that they are Christian. Why? Because they've clothed Christianity with what? Or they clothed paganism with Christianity.
I just find it fascinating, though, that they themselves would proclaim themselves as pagans on these coins and yet call themselves Christians. I just find that intriguing, the dichotomy of it and how still they were able to fool the masses.
Well, Daniel chapter 8 said that through their what's the word where you really stealth and trickery, through their trickery. No, trickery. I'm going to call the word trickery. They were subtlety. Through subtlety and trickery, they will get the world to follow them. Remember, Revelation chapter 13 says the whole world follows after the beast. So it's not it's not like it's by happenstance. Remember that you have nuns. Nuns go out there, they do Christian work. Feed the homeless. They want to be selfless, right? They do everything that a Christian ought to do. So when you look at them, they say they are the mother church. They are the church that all churches came out of, which is not true, because Christianity was before the Roman Catholicism ever came around. It was pagan. There was only two types of worship before Sunday came around. There was Sabbath worship and there was pagan worship, right? And then it all became very convoluted in AD 321 when Constantine decided, well, we're going to have to worship the venerable day of the sun. And it changed the day of worship from Sabbath, seventh day to Sunday. So, all right. So everybody understand verse 5. Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. So in her hand is a cup of what? A gold cup filled with what? Wine or blood. So now she's drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration, as many of us have done. Well, we went over there and we was like, wow, this place is huge. Holly, we went to the Vatican and we were like, wow, this place is huge. And everything is decked. There's not one thing that's not decked over there.
Like, I imagine all of that is like real stone, gold.
Yes. Well, we went to Greece.
Yeah.
And it's straight marble.
Yeah, marble.
Everything was made in marble. The whole infrastructure, marble. I'm like, where do you find that much marble? And I'm talking about marble so real that when you walk on it, you slip and slide.
Yeah,
you cannot walk on marble. So now, verse 7, and the angel said to me, wherefore or why do you marvel? Why are you so surprised? I will tell you the mystery of this woman and of the beast that carry her, which have 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast you saw, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So it gave you the answer in the beginning, right? This is the answer in the beginning. It will go to perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. Whose names, these are the people who will wonder are the ones whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. When they behold the beast, when they see the beast that was and is not, and yet is?
That's
The answer is in the
was
beginning.
and was not. So that was
Right?
at the beginning of the power?
Ah.
Was that the beginning of the papal power?
Aha. That was the beginning of the pagan power. Right? And then the papal power came after. And then you have that was not. Something happened during the time when it lost its power.
That was the beginning of papal power.
You call me?
Pagan power.
Somebody's coming from Jordan. And then there was a yet is. Okay? So, right here, Holly, we're going to go to our presentation.
Wait. I'm sorry. I need to write this down so I can remember.
Look,
So,
I'm going to make it more clear here so you can take a picture of it.
oh,
Yeah. Okay. You see that? You see my screen, Holly? All right. I know Andrew sees it if he's not eyes are not closed. Okay, Revelation 17 in the picture. 3 phases of the papacy overview in Revelation 17. You have the whore, scarlet beast. You have the daughters or the harlots, right? We understand the woman represents the what? Church. The beast represents a government, okay? The daughters represent the harlots. Very good, very good. The kings of the earth. We have the kings of the earth. Now the kings of the earth are standing on what? Which represents? Okay. So they always stay on where? Because they have to continue ruling their government, right? All right. But then further down in Revelation chapter 17, the woman and the beast goes into the where?
Wilderness.
Into the wilderness or the desert, into the wilderness to do what? Hide. And everything that they do is in secrecy. No one can see because the kings of the earth stayed on the water. So always keep this view in mind. Okay. The prostitute woman history begins with her sitting on the water, fornicating with the kings of the earth. There are 3 phases in the history of the papacy, which match up with the body of the beast, the 7 heads, and the 10 horns. There is was, one is, and then there is yet is. That's what we're going to talk about, right? So we're going to see below. 538 to 1798. The was. The woman sits on the water fornicating with the kings of the earth for how long? 1,260 prophetic days. Or, very good. Okay? From 1798 until we're here now, the woman sits on the 7 heads and is in the where? The wilderness. So from 1798, the woman has been in the wilderness quiet. Remember, all we heard about was John Paul. You know, we really didn't hear much about Rome as America grew in where? In its power. The stronger America got, you heard about all types of things, you know, Cold Wars, this, that, and the third. Yeah, you know, Pope John Paul joined in to talk with Gorbachev and President Reagan, doing Berlin walls down, but nothing was ever as more imminent as it is right now. So this is the time where the beast power lost a certain power that it had. Between 538 and 1798, it had 2 powers. What were the 2 powers? No. It had 2 powers. Once Justinian gave the bishop the scepter. Huh? Power. Those are 2 powers that they were able to control. Okay, let me rephrase it. Justinian gave the bishop of Rome that he decides to make bishop his scepter. What's going on, John? Once you give them the scepter, once he has the scepter, he becomes the head of what?
He's the head of the church. He's also the head of the state.
Very good. So at that moment, in 538 to 1798, the popes, the bishops, they all had power over church and state. But in 1798, when Pope Leo was captured by Brigadier, what's his name, Napoleon, General Napoleon, and Bonaparte, his captain, when he got captured in Rome and killed, what power did Rome lose? The power for state. They didn't have government control power anymore. All they had was what? Religious or church. So from 1798 until right now, to this day, all Rome has power is over the church. That's why today, Pope Francis can speak on his document based only to the Catholic Church in reference to same-sex marriage and divorce.
He doesn't have ruling over. He's trying to get.
The whole point is,
yes,
the only way he gets power through the state is
the people.
through the who?
People.
No.
The government.
Who are
The head.
the kings? Very good. Now you're gonna get it. So now the was, the is not, and is to come. There you go. Your three right there. The was 538 to 1798. The is not 1798. They do not have power over the government. They only have power over the church. So even in Italy, they don't have power over the government. In the Vatican, he does because that's,
he is the church and the state.
that's right. In the Vatican, he has both of them. But in Italy, he does not. Because even in Italy, on a Sunday, everybody goes and do their business. Okay? But once he has all the kings of the nations to pass the law that he needs to pass, then through the kings, he has what? Over church and... Makes sense?
Real quick, I watched did you ever watch that interview
With
Daniel Days, the DC evangelist? He speaks about how him and his evangelists went to DC when the Pope came and he did.
Oh, yes, I did.
Interview.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Congress gave full authority.
Yes, I did. I was watching that. I watched it twice. I didn't remember his name, but yes, I did. It's called how the U.S. government, Congress, gave power to full authority to Rome, and he was asking people about climate change and are they okay with it? People were like, yes, I am, and this. Yes, I did. I watched it twice.
I watched it.
You watched it three times?
You watched it.
You watched it?
Would you send us a link?
Yes, I will share the link with you.
Okay.
Yes, we'll share the link. Okay, so does everybody understand the was, the what, the is, and the yet to come? You understand now? Does it make sense? You understand, Holly? Okay. All right. So the kings of the earth stay on the water at all times. They never leave the waters to go anywhere else. Because the waters need people, and they gotta run the governments. Yeah.
They never leave the people because they gotta run the government.
Right.
But in this case, he's leaving his people.
He doesn't have a government.
He does, Vatican.
That's not really. I'm talking about. When I say a government, I'm not talking.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about like the United States of America. I'm talking about. He doesn't run a country. He runs that area. That's pretty much it. A country, the government, the power.
But he has come here to get the heads of.
That's what I'm saying. So he's coming here to deal with our government. Our head of state is President Barack Obama. He is the head of state. here in America. Putin, or Putin, whatever his name is the head of state in Russia. You see, Cuba has Castro. That's who he's going to talk to, right?
Microsoft has it.
Yeah, but Microsoft is a tool that he's using.
Using to get
Right,
access.
right. Okay, so he's using all the tools. He's got the tools. He's using every little piece that has a connection, but the head of state is working with him. The head of state is working with him, right? Because the head of state is Barack Obama. He's pushing the Pope's agenda. Okay. As a matter of fact, listening to the radio today, Bernie Sanders is headed to the Vatican because Bernie Sanders and the Pope see eye to eye on economy, where Hillary Clinton and the Pope see eye to eye on the environment. Global warming, huh? And Trump and Pope see eye to eye on security, building a wall.
And making Mexico pay for it.
That's all rhetoric. Fluff and rhetoric is to throw people off, like I always say. But the wall to be built is for a purpose. But they're going to make it look like it's to protect us. We will build a wall to protect, because the Vatican has a wall around it. We saw the wall,
Yeah.
right? The Vatican is there the wall is to protect the people within the Vatican. Really? It is. Because really, it is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because
when Italy, the wall was really built when Italy went after Rome, the Vatican. Italy itself went after the Vatican. And not only Italy went after the Vatican, remember France went after the Vatican. So they built a wall to protect the Vatican. But in this case, they're saying that they're going to build a wall to protect the people within America from whom? Radical Islam or whoever ISIS is, they're looking to build this wall. So it's not just for immigration purposes, it's to protect America. And this wall, they said, it could be a rhetorical wall or a physical wall. But they're going to build a wall. And they all say they will build a wall. Hillary Clinton says she's going to build a wall. She does not oppose the wall building. Bernie Sanders does not oppose the wall. They're all into this wall building situation. It's just what kind of walls are we building? Okay? All right. Thus, they cannot be in the wilderness because this is the kings of the earth. They have to stay on the water. So they cannot be in the wilderness with the woman because if they went there, then they have lost their power and anarchy prevails in the nations that they once ruled. Meaning that they have no government. So that's true. If the heads of state left, their government, anarchy. Because you have to be able to, when it says leave, it's not like taking a trip. We're saying they just literally upright resign. They're not heads of state. The daughters of the woman are born during the first phase of the papacy. True or false?
The daughters of the woman.
Are born during the first phase of the papacy.
The daughters.
No, not really, because they was like pretty much against the church. They actually, like Protestants.
No.
I thought that like when they broke away from the church,
They became 10 toes.
Okay.
Didn't if the daughters of the women are the Protestant churches, then wouldn't they have been born after the church started regaining its power?
Okay, so let's talk about the daughters of the woman here. We've got Kirill, whatever his name is. Pope Francis went to Cuba to talk to whom?
Castro.
No, not just Castro. To sign a peace treaty with Kirill, the Roman, the Russian Orthodox Church. Yes, that's a daughter of the church.
Of the Catholic.
of the Catholic Church. Remember, there was a split, right? It's called the Great Schism.
But that was just one schism. I mean, the Catholic Church broke into two: the Greek Orthodox and the Roman Catholic.
Right. So I'm giving the first phase.
Okay.
The first phase. That's what I'm saying. The daughters of Rome are born during the first phase of the papacy. So the first phase of the papacy. Remember that all the barbaric tribes that came in like 457 BC up until 537. I'm sorry, 457 AD up until 537 AD. You have all these barbaric tribes. Rome splits into 10 countries, 10 kingdoms, right? We understand the Lombards, the Ostrogoths, the Heruli, we know them, right? Those 10 horns, right? So now, within those 10 horns, daughters came out of them. And those daughters were your Orthodox churches that decided to split from the Roman Church because they're still Roman Catholic churches themselves. They're called the Orthodox churches. Okay, so this is a two-part type of split where you have two separate types of daughters. You have daughters from the Protestant churches, and you have daughters from the Orthodox churches. So that's the reason why Pope Francis is trying to heal the wounds to get all the daughters back. The daughters from the Orthodox and the daughters from the Protestants.
Running around telling them, I'm sorry, like he did with the
Waldenses, right.
They didn't accept his apology.
Well, the Waldenses were not his daughters. He was saying, I'm sorry because they murdered plenty of the Waldensians. They were not his daughters. But his daughters are the Orthodox. He met with the Russian Orthodox Church. He met with the Chinese Orthodox Church. Yes, the Chinese Orthodox Church. He met with the
I didn't actually know the Orthodox Church was a sister church.
yes, they are. The Orthodox Church. No, it's not the Lutherans. Lutherans are Lutherans. But that's a Protestant church. The Orthodox churches happened before the Protestant movement. So the Orthodox churches are the ones who were first phase just before the Protestant churches happened. That was one schism. The second schism happened when the Protestant churches, Luther and all of them, decided, you know what, your teachings are wrong, and we're going to go against your teachings, and they started different churches. So that was now those are the other daughters of the Catholic Church. So that's where it says the daughters of the woman are born during the first phase of the papacy or shortly after, and then grow up during the times of the seven heads. Rome sits on how many hills?
7.
Or seven? How many mountains? 7 mountains. A mountain represents a what?
Kingdom.
A kingdom. Kingdom also represents a head or a state. So the growth of the 7 heads also represents the growth of Rome and also represents the growth of 7 different governments. Okay? Any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm a little confused. So the 7 heads are 7 nations, but the 10 are also 10 nations?
Say it again, you broke up.
The 7 heads are 7 nations, and the 10 horns are 10 nations.
Okay, so the 7 heads are 7 governments, or 7 governments. Your 10 kings, and this is what I'm gonna come into further with Revelation chapter 17. Your 10 kings represents those 10 horns represents 10 nations. So the 10 nations that we have, your Franks, French, Anglo-Saxon, English, Lombards, Italy. What was Germany? What was Germany? I can't remember what Germany was. All right. There's Germany, and then there is all your like your Czech, right? Czechoslovakia, and all those areas right there. And then you have your Ostrogoths, and then you have your Heruli, and you have your Vandals, right? You have those. Those are your 10 nations, your 10 horns. Your 7 heads are your 7 governments that sit within Rome. Remember, Rome sits on 7 mountains. A mountain represents a head.
So the 7 governments are all part of Rome?
Yes.
Okay.
They're all part of Rome.
Of that?
They're broken up, but they're all part of Rome. So when you go to the Vatican sits on 7 hills. Well, 7 mountains, but 7 hills.
So eventually, all of this.
So let's move down. Let's move down. Are you ready to find out, Holly? Okay. Verse 9. Verse 9. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are what? What is it? The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman what? Sits. So how do you understand that?
But the Vatican itself does not sit on 7 mountains.
It's not hills, baby, like you see rolling hills.
I'm picturing my visual
Yes.
is giving me
The hills like mountains?
hills.
Okay. So before we got to the Vatican, we did not go inside to see how deep this thing goes, right? But if you look at a picture of Rome, you would see exactly
It's
where,
on one of the hills.
right, you see where Vatican is, you see something else over here, you see something else over here, you see how the aerial view of how the Vatican sits in 7 different sections of what makes up the Vatican.
So the idea is that basically, I'm going to do also the 7 heads or governments will eventually go back to Rome. You know, it's symbolic how it's going to go back to Rome.
Right. It all comes back under, right. It all comes back together. Any other questions? There's a lot.
I know that one.
There's a lot in Revelation 17. So, in order to understand who Rome is, Revelation 17, the angel breaks it down for John. Okay? You have the 7 heads, which are 7 mountains. Okay? Now, let's go to verse 10 to get better understanding. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is. How many is that? 6. And the other is yet to come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. Okay? Let me read that one more time. Let me read it one more time. And the 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must cometh for a short space and time. Okay. Well, Larry, who's that? There's 7 kings. There's 7 heads, which are 7 mountains, and there are 7 kings. 5 already fell. Let's look at it. Daniel had a vision. He saw 1 beast that represented who?
Well, I'll just read the concordance for that. Can I read it real quick?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just giving it from 9 and 10. Mine was the wisdom
possesses divinely aided spiritual understanding, which is the mind receptive to God's truth. The clause may possibly be connected with rather than with verse 8, which you just read, rather than 9, and may refer specifically to wisdom and understanding who the beast is. It may also refer to the following verses, the interpretation of the heads, the beast, the horns, and the woman. The 7 heads of the beast symbolize both 7 mountains and 7 kings, which we talked about. Since the word mountains also means hills, most interpreters understand this as referring to the 7 hills along the Tiber River, a well-known designation of the city of Rome. However, 7 mountains may also refer to successive world empires, since mountains are typically symbols of earthly kingdoms or empires.
Okay, so let's go now. 5, 1 is, and 1 is yet to come.
So the 5 made here is Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece.
There you go.
The 6th.
Whoa, don't go too far.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just
Because the 5, remember Daniel saw the first beast was a what? A lion who represented what? Babylon. The second beast was a what? A bear that represented?
Medo-Persia.
Those are 2 heads. Okay? All right? The third beast represented Greece. It was a leopard with 4 heads. Right? That's your 3rd head. Okay? And then Medo-Persia
You have the beast.
took 3 other beasts. It took one of the beasts that was not mentioned, which was Egypt. Okay? When Medo-Persia beat when it came into power, it had 3 ribs in its mouth. The 3 ribs represented Babylon, Libya, and Egypt. Okay? So now you have Libya.
Is that? Oh.
Yeah, same place. Okay? All right? So now you have your 5 heads right there. One is right now. 1 head is happening right now. That's your 6th head. This 6th head is in power today. Who's that?
Wrong.
Very good. And 1 is to come. No. No. It's not America. You guys will be surprised to know about the Ottoman Empire. Who was the Ottoman Empire? Turkey. Turkey was your Ottoman Empire. Where does Constantinople reside right now?
Turkey.
In Turkey. Who created Constantinople?
Turkey.
No.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Who created the city Constantinople?
Constantine.
There you go. Who came out of where? Rome. So Turkey had also taken over Rome.
For a short period, though.
Yes. And Turkey will find its way back for a short period of time.
Isn't that from Daniel and the Revelation? But Ellen and James White disagreed with that interpretation.
Right. They did, but here it is. Many people are looking at the Turkish Empire right now as that 7th head that's going to come in for a short space in time. Because of its history and because of what resides in Turkey. It's just a matter of Turkey right now was a larger power during that time. During the time of the early stages of Rome in 538 to 1798, Dark Ages. During that time, I want you to read the concordance right there, baby, and find out what it says there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just reading. So it goes back to, okay, so we read Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece. And the 6th being the Roman Empire, the 7th another which has yet to come. Perhaps this to be revived Roman Empire. Kings may refer to Roman empires, but this is unlikely since more than 5 had reigned before writing of Revelation. The beast is the 8th and is of the 7th. The beast is related to the 7th king, but also has a separate identity. The obscure wording may express the worldwide amazement that the beast was healed from the deadly wound to rule the world again. It seems that the 8th World Empire is some form of revived Roman Empire over the Antichrist establishes the imperial authority of a dictator.
All right, hold on. That's why I want to go there.
Okay.
Because I asked you what sits in Turkey. What major city sits in Turkey? Constantinople is a Roman city. It is a Roman city that sits inside Turkey. So again, Rome revives. It revives the Arab nation. It revives the Muslim or the Arab nation once again. Turkey is a symbolic of the Muslim or the Ottoman Empire is a symbolic of the Islam Empire. Right.
Oh wow.
Well, we already knew that the Islamic
Yeah.
Roman and Islamic connection has always been around, but they revived that power once again to reside to have power that for a short space and time. And for this short space and time is going to be during persecution of God's people.
So during the time that we are hiding, or whatever you call it, running, that Turkish Roman,
Or no, just not just
Roman,
the Islamic power.
That's more power is going to be ruling.
No, not ruling. It's gonna be with the. They're gonna for a space of time. It's going to run with or be with that 7th head or that 6th head for a short space in time. So they're gonna rule together for a short space in time. Because Constantinople is a major Roman city. It never changed. It sits in Turkey, but it never changed. Pope Francis knows his history. He knows very well of his history. This man is very smart. He knows that area means a lot to the Vatican or to Rome, period. So when it's time to beef it up, all they're doing is this whole Islam radical thing is for a purpose. They're showing their strength. They are showing who is their muscle. So when it's time to go after God's people, he knows who to employ. Because he knows there's no fear in that group of people. The Islamic power must rise up again. So, with that being said, the 7 kings, which match up with the 7 heads and the 7 mountains, represent a time when they have power only over their church when they and the woman are together in the desert during the 2nd phase of the beast history. This time began in 1798 and will run until the church-state beast returns to power. He doesn't have that power yet. He has to wait till he returns to power. To persecute to persecute is return to the church. So basically, the story of Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys who did not bow down to the statue, right? Anytime the government gets religious power, there's always persecution behind it. Huh? Oppression or persecution. Always. Anytime the government gets religious power, oppression or persecution is behind it. So when Nebuchadnezzar, who is the state, got religious power, telling people to bow down and worship the statue, if you don't, guess what? You go into the fire, you get cooked, right? Or another story of Daniel being thrown into the lion's den, right? it became those wise men wrote a decree, had the king sign into law that no one worships another god but him. So when Daniel prayed, they said, Lord, they said, Your Honor, he broke the law. Because now you have religion as a part of the state. So anytime that comes together, there's a problem. So now in 1798, the church has the Roman Catholic Church only has one power, which is religion. But then when it comes back out of the wilderness and it has all the kings of the earth with him or with her, she now can start the persecution process. So if anyone does not bow down to Sunday keeping, as the law says, oppression and persecution. Okay? The power of the seven kings is severely restrained because they are in the desert, which symbolizes a prison or a time of restraint on the power. So basically, once again, if they have only the religious power, they cannot do anything until the church and state comes together. Their power is religious only because they have no kings on the earth through which to legally leverage the power against the people of God. So religion power only until we can get all the government powers to pass a law that says Sunday is the day that all men should bow down and worship the God of the earth. Until those kings of the earth pass the law, the church has no power.
Just like when King Darius, even though he knew he wanted to try to save Daniel, it was written, it was a law, he had to do it.
He had to do it because the law is a law, right? It's a law, and it's a decree. A decree is a law. So when the prostitute woman returns to sitting upon the waters, when she comes out of the wilderness now, or the woods, she comes back to the people during the third phase. This allows her to resume fornicating with the kings of the earth, making sure that everybody's ecumenically underneath her umbrella, right? The combination which the scarlet beast or the church state beast, as the authors sometimes call it, and is identified with the 8th of Revelation, chapter 17 through 11. So now she is intertwined with the kings. They pass their law. Now she can make her move. But she needs the strong arm, not just the American army or the military or the, police force. She needs a force that is not afraid to change their mind. Here it is. If you are Devontae, you are a policeman. You come to knock the doors of those people who defy the law and they want to worship God on Sabbath, and you're coming with a bunch of other police officers. You're an American cop. You knock the door, come in there, and you see these people on their knees. In some way, somehow, your heart might bleed for these people. And you go, you know what, I'm a Christian too. And just by seeing them, you might go, I don't want to kill nobody today. And you might be the one to step out the house while the other cops round them up and chain them up and take them out. And then one day, just by seeing that, you might go, Lord, I don't know what to do, but I want to be like these people. The Pope doesn't want to take that chance. He wants radical people to do radical things to get the job done. These folks who can blow up Brussels at an airport, blow themselves up, who have absolutely no fear of who's around. That's why it has to come back to that last head. Everybody get that? Okay. Holly, yes, Anna Holly? You got 2 cats over there.
What you can't see is there's 2 more cats, 3, and then 2 dogs over here on the sofa. So.
Well, they're listening very attentively.
They're going to be in heaven with us, right?
Yeah, you're going to have some brand new ones. All right. So this is the end of our slide, but I wanted to kind of show the scarlet beast wearing purple and scarlet.
You know, the one thing I remember when my cousin Ordell was here, we were talking about that. She's a seamstress to us, you know, how much she does. And
You know, she made that dress.
well, yeah, she did. And her pastor, you know, she makes the robes for the pastor.
We need that.
But and we talked about the robes and the buttons because they're identical. So all the bishops and pastors that do the Sunday that preach on Sundays, their robes are identical to those of the archbishops or the pope.
The archbishop and the priests.
And most of the robes look just like that.
Yes.
It's something that order that picture.
Right.
If they be looking.
They're all the same. Yeah. They're all the same.
Right.
Because that's how you know. That's how you identify. That's how you identify the door.
I was coming, man.
I'm about to chip this dude up right quick, man. What's up, man? Oh man, oh man. Anyhow, this is how you identify the daughters of Rome by their dress, right? So if they're wearing the same identical type of outfit, then you know who the daughters of Rome are, right? So let's go to Bishop T.D. Jakes. Takes a picture with Pope Francis. He has on his full regalia.
Yes, he does.
The robe is on.
Yes.
The purple sash. The purple sash is there. The black and purple is there. The bottom piece is purple.
Wow.
Just the same way. Bishop Eddie Long has the same exact. All of them have the same robe, and it's purple. Your priests wear purple, right? Your cardinals wear the
Red.
color of a cardinal.
Scarlet.
Red. So you have your scarlet, and how is a woman dressed? In what?
In
Scarlet and purple. So it tells you, Revelation 17 gives you all the description that you need of the church.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
So if we take it back to the sanctuary and the entrances, you got the blue, the scarlet, and the purple. No blue.
Right. No blue on them. No blue on them. That's how now God identifies. Remember, and what does blue represent? The Lord. Blue represents the Lord. So they have two of the identifying colors. No, they have two of the identifying colors of the sanctuary, but they're missing the foundation color of the sanctuary, which is blue. But why does blue represent the Lord? Sapphire blue is what's under God's throne. It's actually the foundation of his throne. So it literally tells you that when he called Moses up to get the precepts, he wrote it right here on it, and then he broke it off and gave it to Moses. You can read that in Exodus chapter 35.
Can you explain that a little bit, or I can't see you? He wrote it.
You can't see my hand actions? I'm sorry, Holly. Okay.
God wrote the precepts through.
35, huh?
You said God wrote the precepts right here and then broke it off, but I'm not sure where you were in.
Okay. Let's take a detour real quick. Let's go to Exodus chapter 35. Gotta watch that Bluetooth. I believe. This is.
It's
No, this is before we,
34.
let's go 34.
What is it talking about?
Hold
I
on.
know, I was reading it.
Hold on. This is when God calls Moses up to the mountain. So it's 33. I'll make sure I'm correct.
Yeah, 34. So, and the Lord said unto Moses, I'm Exodus 34 and 1. These are 2 tables of the stone like unto the first, and I wrote upon these tables the words that were in the first table which thou breakest. And be ready in the morning to come unto the Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mount. No man shall come up with thee, neither let any man see through the mount, all the mount, neither let the flocks nor the herds feed before that. And he 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and Moses rose up in the morning, went up unto Mount Sinai, as the Lord had commanded, and took in his hand the 2 tablets of stone. I was looking for the writing. This is not
No, I'm not there
This
yet.
is Exodus 24.
Yes, I do.
It says that in Exodus 24, Moses and the elders of Israel are invited up to Mount Sinai to see the covenant with God. They eat and drink, but Moses alone may approach God, but the elders get a glimpse of him from afar. And it says,
Verse 9.
9.
Yes, verse 9.
Moses and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 elders of Israel went up and saw the God of Israel. Under his feet was something like a pavement made of lapis lazuli, as bright blue as the sky. In this setting, God presents the hard covenant the covenant Israelites have verbally committed to. In verse 12 it says, the Lord said to Moses, come up to me on the mountain and stay here, and I will give you the tablets of stone with the law and commandments I have written for their instruction. The way the words stone and tablet are written in Hebrew leads the interpreter to believe that God is referring to a specific type of stone, and the only stone in this context is the blue stone of God's throne. In Exodus chapter 32, we learn that God made the tablets and wrote on them his own self. 32 verse 15 says, and Moses turned and went down from the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hand. Tablets were written on both sides. They were written on one side and the other. The tablets were God's work, and the writing was God's writing engraved on the tablet. This godly handiwork also lends credence to the actual stone being of godly origin, the blue stone of his throne. Ezekiel 1 also describes God's throne being made of blue stone. And so we have the law of God derived from the throne of God. Ultimately, if we follow the path of these stone tablets, they reside under the earthly representation of God's throne, aka the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. And for those who need particulars, Moses made the replacement copy of the covenant from the original stone. Now the Lord said to Moses, cut out for yourself 2 stone tablets like the former
35.
and I will write on those tablets the words on the former tablets which you shat. So he wrote that. So that's Exodus 34. Interestingly enough, the temple was called the footstool of God. This is a logical rendering. If the stone tablets were carved from the literal pavement under his throne, the box which held the pavement rested in the temple, and the color blue has a special significance for Israel. God directed Israelite men to wear blue tassels on their garment, and the answer is in Numbers chapter 15. Verse 39, it shall be a tassel for you to look at and remember all the commandments of the Lord, so as to do them and not follow after your own heart and your own hands, after you please the harlot. so that you may remember to do all my commandments and be holy to your God. The blue square was to remind them of God's law. The blue commandments.
So, yeah.
So blue is law because blue comes from the throne that sits at the foot of God. So literally, it's sapphire blue. That's why blue is law. But that's the reason why the others cannot have blue because they disregard God's law. See how? Understand that? You understand that, Holly? You got it?
Did you hear me, Holly? I'm sorry.
Holly, did you hear the reading? I can't hear her. Is she mute? Holly, are you muted? You're mute, Holly.